Hey, this is Cesar, Homeboi Photography. Welcome to my channel. I'm just going to do the part 2 of the review for the XP130 Fujifilm point and shoot waterproof camera. So just a heads up, somebody had a question, so I just wanted to answer it more in depth besides the comment that I had responded to. So the question, well actually let's read the comment. So the comment says, "Thanks for the review, Cesar. I'm looking for the XP130 or 140 for kayaking trips and the future trip to Jamaica because my D810 is not going there. I wanted to see some examples and you delivered. The colors look outstanding. Did you have to bump them up in post a lot, or are Fuji's colors that great?" So, I actually had a picture here opened up, so I just want to give you a quick heads up. What I ended up doing was I was very subtle with the colors. I did just one on the saturation for this image, and the vibrance was set to 14, and I did that for the most part on every picture, just very subtle on the saturation, and then just bring up the vibrance just a tad bit more. But as far as colors themselves, on this picture the only color that I did a little bit more on was the greens, so I did a little bit extra saturation there on a specific color. On almost every picture I try to stay as subtle as possible, but the only two colors that I really did do a little bit more on is just the blues and the greens. The reason for that is because most of the landscape pictures are either skies and mountains or sky and grass and things like that, so definitely two interesting colors that you would want to bring up to get a nice landscape view. So everything else I stayed as subtle as possible. I'm not going to go over how I did the edit on any of these pictures. Maybe on a future video I'll be more than happy to do that for you guys, but just wanted to answer that question. The one tip that I would definitely bring up is the exposure is something that I definitely recommend that you make sure that you do well. Again, it's a JPEG, so you don't want to crank up or move the shadows and highlights as much as you usually would be able to on a raw picture, just because there's not enough data on those extremely peaking highs and lows. So if you're extremely clipping in one direction or another, the quality of the picture will not be as great as you'd expected. So getting the right picture is going to really be important, and for the most part there's presets there that help you get the job done right. A nice feature that it definitely has is if you're doing a portrait picture and you're struggling with getting the right exposure, it does have a setting where you can have the flash be turned on, and it takes two pictures, one with and one without the flash, so that way you have two options of pictures and then you can pick between the two and see which ones look better. So that's a really nice feature to have. I really like that feature. Transitioning to the video, as far as the quality of the HD 1080p, the way it picks up the colors, the way it picks up the light, everything's incredibly awesome. I was not focused on having the camera video quality be as great. I was in the zone of vacationing. I was enjoying my time there. So just a quick tip, when you're recording, you're gonna have that shake before and after in the picture. Just make sure you give yourself enough time so you have the shake and then some decent time of balance where you can record and you have the nice cuts that you'll be able to do when you start editing the pictures. Since it is a point and shoot camera and most of the time it's just an auto setting, if you are panning left and right and you're outside and you have the sunlight and you have your shadows and mountains and things like that, you will notice that the exposure, the adjustments on the camera will try to go up and down to to work with whatever scenery you have. So you'll see that's something that unfortunately you can't do anything about, unlike a DSLR camera where you can set the aperture, set the shutter speed, set the ISO, and have it on lock so it's not moving up and down on different parameters. That's something that this camera will do, but it's not something that you'll notice it be a problem, especially people are used to it nowadays because phones do the same thing. So when you're recording the video outside, you'll notice that phones change the exposure and then you're tapping on it to try to kind of get it to readjust to what you want it to focus on. So phones do it, these point and shoot cameras do it, so it's nothing that you can do about that. But it's not a bad problem that I would say that would ruin any of your adventure pictures and things like that and videos. With that said, one quick tip before I dive in, if you're going to do video with just a point and shoot and you don't have any tripod, monopod, or some sort of stabilizer, just make sure that you give yourself enough time because you have that initial shake when you're setting the camera and you hit the record, and then you'll have some shake at the end. So just make sure you give yourself enough time in between, so that way when you're doing your cuts you have at least somewhat enough time where you're as stable as possible. And just keep that in mind. I was on vacation, I was having a blast. I was not trying to record too much because I wanted to enjoy my time there, which I did. So the quality of the video is a little bit shaky, and yes, I did some edits on those clips to get a better result. But just keeping that in mind will help you, stay in a little bit more control so you can get better video quality. As far as the color, the detail, everything is great. The microphone that's built in is not that great, so if you need the audio, make sure that you're actually using some sort of external mic, either plugged in into the camera or some sort of handheld recorder if you need the audio. If you don't, if you're just cutting out the audio and just using background music, then I definitely don't recommend that you worry about that. So if you definitely need to do professional work and you don't want to take your professional camera, then having the right tools will help you get the best quality for your videos with these cameras, because it actually does not shoot bad 1080p video. So I'm going to show you the examples that I have. I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions on the camera itself, let me know. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, just post a comment on it. I'll be more than happy to respond either through a video or as a comment. I'll be doing some more reviews on my actual gear that I use more often, so my Nikon D500 and all the rest of the gear. So just stay tuned. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll be posting a video soon. Take care, guys. Thank you again.